Is he in the meeting? I thought he was in the meeting. I just saw him.
Yeah, just give me 2 minutes.
Yes, sir. Not an issue. Not an issue. Let me just start the program while you get ready as well. Okay.
Yeah, sure, sure.
Okay. Okay. Good morning, everyone. Today, I feel very honored and very privileged to start this alumni webinar organized by the Kashipur Old Students Association of THK Jain College. Uh, Today we have with us Dr. Ankan Pathak. Sir has specialized in medicine and cardiology, as well as he's a postdoctoral trainee. Sir has spoken qualitatively and wonderfully about the importance of healthcare in our personal life. There are several online snippets available in which Sir shares his wonderful wisdom, and I feel very glad to welcome Sir to today's webinar. We also have with us our very loved and honored Principal Madam, Dr. Lakshmi Sengupta, and I would request Madam to share a few words in support of our endeavor as an alumni to organize the program, as well as welcome Sir. Ma'am, would you please speak a few words?
Hello, Rakanjana. I think Sir has joined, but Sir is asking for 2 minutes for
Yes, yes,
he will
sure,
be
sure.
ready. Probably he is taking some time for being
Okay,
ready. Okay.
okay, sir. Okay, okay, ma'am. Yes. So, okay, fine. Then let's take the preparation and
Okay.
then we can
Yes.
begin. Let's.
Yes. Okay.
Okay.
So we are waiting for Sir's consent. Okay. Whenever
Yeah,
you
yeah.
will be ready, then
Okay,
we will start
okay,
our.
okay, okay. Sure.
Yes, so
Yes,
good morning, everyone.
yes, sir. Are you?
Sir,
We
good
can
morning,
start.
Yes,
sir.
we can start now.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you, thank you.
Okay, sir. So,
Yes,
sir, really, we are really honored that you have given your kind consent to address our students and also the alumni staff of this college. I really acknowledge your kind presence. Sir, actually, I came to know about you some words from your dear students that you are very excellent orator and you have spoken in different forums and seminars in different, the platforms on cardiology. We are really honored to have you. Thank you, Rakanjana, for your nice introduction. And thank you for inviting me in your program organized by THK Jain College Alumni Association. Really, the topic is very interesting and very important because it's a really a point of concern because in today's fast-paced life, all our foods are also getting fast. So we are all dependent, not only the young generation, but of course we are also sometimes dependent on this kind of fast food or ready-to-cook food. So but without really knowing the adverse effects, ill effects of that. Anyway, the Saris has given his consent to speak on this issue, and we are really thankful to Sir. So without wasting further time, because sir is very busy, you know. So without wasting further time, I am requesting sir to take the stage and address our students, staff, and alumni. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am, for your kind words and for welcoming sir on behalf of all of us. Dr. Pathak, I give the stage to you and welcome again to the seminar.
Thank you. At the outset, let me just thank the entire organizing committee and the alumni and madam for inviting me. Uh, I am not at all a very busy doctor. I'm just starting out. So it is my proud privilege to be invited into this August gathering to deliver a talk. I was asked by ma'am to choose a topic, and I found this topic to be the most appropriate given today's circumstances, the life we lead nowadays. We keep talking of bigger diseases, like diabetes, hypertension, stroke, but we tend to forget the basic aspect that before the development of such diseases, before we come to a diagnosis of such diseases, there is a bigger factor that is playing, that is an unhealthy lifestyle or inappropriate dietary habits. All of these do tend to play a very big role compared to what we think. We think that this is all genetics. But let me make it very clear that for an individual to develop a non-communicable disease, and by non-communicable disease, I mean either a hypertension or a diabetes, it can be stroke, it can be cancers, it can be obesity. In addition to just genetic factors, lifestyle and your diet does play a huge role. I think we've all seen so many patients come to us with diabetes, with hypertension, with a history of stroke, just blame their genetics for this. Let me make it clear that genetics, although is an important factor, diet and lifestyle modifications are equally important. So, as far as the established genetic and environmental risk factors are concerned, modifiable lifestyle related factors continues to play a very large role at the individual level. Dietary choices, for example, contribute to the risk of development of hypertension, hypercholesterolemia, being overweight or being obese, and inflammation. And whenever there is inflammation in our body, there is a high risk for the development of significant diseases which increase the risk of mortality and morbidity. By mortality, I mean the chances of one getting dead because of these diseases, and morbidity is illnesses related to these diseases. So obviously the marked rise of non-communicable disease has a link to the global dietary patterns that are becoming increasingly westernized. Something that is very important is that we are developing into a westernized nation, and that is the reason why our diet is now characterized by high levels of fatty acids, fats, processed meat, ready to eat food materials, saturated fats, processed meats, refined grains, salt and sugars, but also a diet which is severely lacking in fresh fruits, vegetables, and also good fats. So, in recognition of the importance of diet as a determinant of the disease risk, the World Health Organization Global Action Plan for the Prevention and Control of Non-Communicable Diseases included strategies to address the unhealthy dietary patterns. Among its initiatives directed at reducing the behavioral risk factors, the other components which comprise the physical inactivity, use of tobacco and harmful alcohol usage, to actually make a point that all these are not only important, but probably the most important factor for the development of diabetes and all the other non-communicable diseases. I would like this, just a second. Although this is a medical terminology, I would like to think that some of you do know something called DASH. The dietary approaches to stop hypertension is one of the pillar stones or the cornerstones for the treatment of hypertension. As far as a healthy diet, we get asked certain questions, and one of the questions which is very important as far as patient perspectives are concerned is what is a healthy diet. And a healthy diet is one in which macronutrients are consumed in appropriate portions or proportions to actually support the energetic and physiological needs without an excessive intake, while also providing sufficient micronutrients and hydration to meet the physiological needs and demands of the body. When I talk about macronutrients, it is nothing but carbohydrates, proteins, and fats. And when I talk of micronutrients, these are vitamins and minerals. So I think, with the permission of the chair, I think I would like this discussion to be a didactic one, whereas we discuss issues that the honorable participants might also have, instead of me just speaking. So I think if there are any questions at this point of time, I would like to take them before I continue on to my further talk.
Okay, surely, sir. As you wish. No problem.
So all who have attended the meeting, you have heard how well Sir has explained the difference between the purpose of food. Like, it should be there for your physiological needs, and not just for, if I'm right, sir, right, for physiological needs, and not just for the taste buds to be satisfied. And what sort of diet one should follow. So you can obviously have some discussion or some queries you may have. You can put forth to sir. And on that regard, sir, I have a query.
Yes.
To be very fair, sir, like as a Bengali, we have all been used to having chops and snacks, especially in the rainy days, right? So usually now in our modern lifestyle, we tend to more pick up a packet of Lay's or Kurkure to satisfy those bits of, hunger pangs that we get. While earlier, our mothers used to insist that you should rather have Badite Koda passionate chop, buy one bunch of croquettes from the shop. So, sir, is there much difference eating a chop from the shop or maybe a packet of Lay's that we buy? Which would be better? Is neither applicable for us?
It's something of a difficult question to answer. It's choosing between two very bad things. So I think
Okay.
the basic issue that I really do tend to follow is, number one, I'll just deviate from your question a little. Something that we Bengalis really love and have is a sweet tooth, including me. Or for that matter, 90% of our patients do tend to have a sweet tooth. There is nothing bad in having that. There are patients who do tend to complain to us that what do we do when we feel like having a sweet dish? And one of the answers, or one of the approaches that I tell them is, the moment of after you take a meal and you want to take something that is sugary or some to satiate your craving, go for a fruit as much as possible. You take a seasonal fruit. I think there is no harm in taking a fruit or having fruits that are seasonal. You might have mangoes when they are in season, or for that matter, you can have whatever fruits that you want when they are in season to satiate your sugar craving. So what it does is, there are definite benefits. Number one, it reduces your intake of processed sugar, which is very, very important. Number two, you tend to intake natural sugars. Fruits are the purest form of natural sugars. And if taken in moderation, they do tend to benefit rather than harm you. And number three, they help satiate your sugar cravings without being unhealthy. So this is one thing that can be done. As far as your question is concerned, there is no harm in having food or binging once in a while. That is all part and parcel of our daily lives. We cannot live our lives with such discipline. I think we need to understand that we are not from the land of Bollywood actors, because we don't do this for a living. So we can go for it once in a while, but to reduce the ill effects, I think anything homemade, you can do your chops and whatever homemade. If they are homemade, they're fine as long as you consume it at your home. The primary reason being, and I'll tell you why. When we have food from outside, they tend to use the same oil for the entire day. The chop that they fry those thing in at 5 p.m. is the same oil where they fried at 10 p.m. So what it does is the temperature of the oil increases, and as a result, we tend to intake a bad that is constituting a bad cholesterol when you tend to reheat that fat over a period of time. Whereas what we do at our homes, we don't use the same oil at night again. So there is definite difference. So it's fine if you have it at your home once in a while. It's okay to binge.
Thank you so much for your answer, sir. That really helps sort it out. Sir, you brought up a very excellent point while you were, mentioning about the diets of Bollywood celebrities, as well as, in comparison to our normal lifestyle. So, there is one way of overeating that is a problem, but there's also the fact of anorexia or undereating that a lot of youngsters face nowadays as well, because of the desire to look as glamorous
I
and
get your
as
question.
so. Yes.
I think before I answer this question, something needs to be very clear. When we are taught about malnutrition in our medical school, for the general public, malnutrition almost always means that the patient is underweight or cachectic or thin or anorexic. But we need to understand malnutrition comprises of both obesity and being underweight. This is the exact definition of malnutrition. So nutrition is not being underweight. We always talk about people being cachectic and thin and just saying that they're nutritious or they're doing well. No. It is a very thin line between the difference between being properly nourished and being malnourished or undernourished or overnourished. Malnourished is both undernourished and overnourished. As far as being thin and anorectic is concerned, I will obviously not vouch for it. But before we comment on Bollywood lifestyles and whatever, we need to understand that they do take a lot of micronutrients and macronutrients as compared to us. They are a lot more aware of their diets. Yes, because they do it for a living. Obviously, we don't do it for a living. So I think when I talk of a healthy and a balanced diet, I'll give you a rule of halves. Half of our plate should comprise of vegetables and fruits. 1/4 of our plate should be whole grains. 1/4 of our plate should be proteins. And the other should be a healthy plant oil, whatever that may be. It might be a sunflower oil, olive oil, whatever it is. So I think this is what I wanted to say. I think Bollywood actors, there are something called keto diets, intermittent fasting. All of this have come up in a big way. I am not against the use of such diets, but before a normal person goes into such diets, they need to consult a doctor and a nutritionist before just going on into it and going into a journey of all this.
That really is that is a very good point that you picked up again, sir. Sir, a lot of our students over here are vegetarians. It's a Jain college, so we have a lot of vegetarian pursuing family coming over here. So, sir, via protein, we usually look into protein as in fish. Not fish. Sorry, meat-based protein. Sir, is there some good plant-based protein that you can also suggest? I have another question besides this, if I can ask right now, if that's okay with you. So, sir, other thing is the students are spending almost 5 hours or 6 hours at least in the college. So not all of them are capable of bringing a healthy tiffin from their homes, and maybe because of the class duration, trip to the canteen is not always an option. In this scenario, is there? I know it would be asking too much for you to ask me, for you to advise me about any brand biscuits or brand food that might be good. But is there some way that they can, supplement their food cravings, in the day, throughout the day, that you may suggest, maybe?
Coming to your second question first, I think it is worthwhile to say biscuits and whatever we get in our markets are not healthy. No matter how much we say that it is oat-based, multigrain, I really doubt the what constitutes them actually. As far as how do we satiate our hunger at that point of time, I think the most healthy would be nuts and seeds. Almonds, walnuts, or for that matter, peanuts. They're very, very healthy if taken in moderation. And also the fact that they're rich in fiber, they're rich in protein, and they're rich in good fats means that once you take in a healthy amount of nut uh, and seeds, they will keep you full for a longer period of time because they're rich in. बोलिए.
So you know, yeah.
Yes. So one of the benefits of taking nuts, seeds, is that number one, they really help you with your fats, good fats and nutrients, and number two, they keep you really, really full for a longer period of time. So what it does is prevents you from binging on harmful foods. This is something that we call as defensive snacking, wherein we've everyone's gone through this phase, including me, where we start the so-called word called dieting. All of a sudden we do it well till the evening, and then comes the phase where we're really hungry, and this is when we sort of forget everything else and we just go and grab whatever is there in front of us, may it be biscuits, chips, thinking that it's to binge once in a day. But what I always advocate is taking a fruit at that point of time, taking your healthy nuts, your almonds, walnuts, your peanuts, your cashew nuts to a certain degree, because cashew nuts are not that healthy as compared to the other nuts. So there are two benefits. It helps you with the craving. It helps you to satiate your hunger. It helps you fulfill your hunger that at that point helps you in preventing yourself from binging again. So these are one of the ways by which we can what we can do when we are in our schools, our colleges, or for that matter in our office. Coming to your first question about proteins and as far as vegetarian and non-vegetarian are concerned, physiologically there are 20 proteins or amino acids that are found in our body, out of which 9 are essential and 11 are non-essential. By essential and non-essential, I do not mean to say that the other 11 are not required. They are required, but the reason they are called non-essential is because they are not produced in our body itself. Whereas the 9 essential amino acids are produced in our body, and they do not need to be taken as an extra consumable outside the bodies. So, as far as the remaining 11 are concerned, we will be astonished to know that both in plant-based proteins and animal-based proteins, all these 11 amino acids are present in both the diets. So this is a misconception. Yes, there is an issue that the Indian protein diet or the Indian vegetarian diet might be a little lacking as far as the protein consumption is concerned. But if you talk of the diet in general, there is no such study which says that the other 11 proteins are not present in a vegetarian diet. Some of the diets, some of the things that are present, some of the vegetarian diets are, or the protein vegetable items that can be really helpful is, number one, we've heard of something called tofu, which is obviously nowadays really available. Tofu, let me just clarify, is that it is very, very rich in protein. Lentils, let me just say that 18 grams of proteins are present in one cook or one cup of lentil. So that is a very, very high proportion. Beans, the black beans, something that we commonly say as rajma. More obviously, rajma is more consumed in the North Indian diet rather than our diet, but there is no reason why we can't consume. Chickpeas are again very, very important. The so-called ghugni, which is not very healthy outside, but chickpeas are a very rich source of protein in our diet. So I think lentils and also lentils, the chickpeas, tofu, green peas again are very very rich in protein. So all these are there in our diet. There is no reason why. There is also something called the quinoa that is also very commonly available nowadays. We can consume them. So I think, and also milk is rich in protein. If you ask me, are all milks really helpful? Very helpful. But if you ask me, the gold standard milk is soy milk. Again, consumed by the Bollywood people. But I think soy milk is also available nowadays in every nook and corner. Oat and oatmeal is again a very high rich source of protein and fiber. Chia seeds again is very important as a protein source. So I think, and if we talk of corn, again, corn and sweet corn is again very important or a very rich source of protein. Almost all fruits, and if you want to name fruits, guava, blackberries, bananas are very rich source of proteins. So I think the bottom line if would be that protein deficiencies among vegetarians might be common, but if we look around and see for sources, there are definite sources that are present in plant or in vegetarian people. And if there is a will, there will be a way.
That is really true, sir. So, sir, after hearing your answer, I sort of get the understanding that if we have a wholesome variety in our daily meals, we do end up gaining a lot of proper nutrients in our body, and obviously should be home cooked as well to maintain that health factor in it and not just buy from the shop. Thank you so much, sir, for clarifying some of my queries. Thank you. We have a question, sir, in the chat box. It is from Professor Sunita ma'am. She is a teacher in our college as well. So, sir, she has asked that in the long working hours and study period, it reduces the appetite, and she does not like to have heavy food, and she only prefers light food. Does it affect the health pattern?
I think if ma'am can unmute herself, I would like to know, when we talk of light for her, light heavy for me cannot be heavy for her. It depends on an individual taste.
Sir, I think ma'am is trying to tell something. If she's traveling, will I ask her? Yeah. Okay. Shunita,
if she can type me,
Sir, I'm traveling by metro, so maybe many noises may come around. Sir, I'm just asking a small question, sir. I don't like to have rice and roti, only fruits, sometimes biscuits like these, curd. These things generally I have throughout the day because heavy foods I don't take even. I don't like to take because it's stress reduces my appetite. It can be study period, it can be working hours. So light fruits I prefer. So is it okay for having a complete diet, or sometimes dals I take, not sometimes vegetables, fish rarely, and other things rarely, sir.
I think your question's noted with thanks. You asked an appropriate question, but I think skipping your carbohydrates for one meal is actually a very, very healthy habit. I would not say that this is a light meal. I think if we can have a really heavy breakfast and then follow it up with a light lunch, which you say comprises of your fruits, and I think if you can add seeds and nuts to them, will make it a very complete diet. And then have your dinner at a relatively earlier time. I think I always advocate the use of or taking your dinner as early as possible. I think that would comprise a very healthy habit. So I think as far as your question goes, I think I don't find there's anything wrong with it. As long as you take a really heavy breakfast followed by a very light lunch, only because of the working hours, we tend to have reduced physical activity. I think that is fine with me.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much. I would like to direct the my Watch the Participants. If you have any questions for Dr. Pathak, I really request you to forward them in the chat box. We already have a question from Manisha Singh, sir. She is asking the reason of reduced appetite and how can she gain weight, that what should be the diet for it.
We tend to get asked this question about how do we lose weight. This is something that is the exact opposite. As far as reason or the reason why there is a reduced appetite, there are multiple factors. I think it actually depends on the age as well. If I talk of an elderly subject, I think it can be, as I said, it can be a non-communicable disease. She might be suffering from a long time hypertension. It is not for her. I'm just specifying it in general. You might be suffering from a long time chronic illness. We tend to have elderly people suffering from uncontrolled diabetes or a long diabetic who does complain of reduced appetite, reduced willingness to have a meal. We have cancer survivors who really do tend to complain of reduced weight. As far as younger population goes, I think one of the most common causes that I think of is a reduced activity. If you don't burn your calories, you're not going to have appetite. At the end of the day, if you are full, or say if you have a meal at 10 o'clock in the morning and then you go sit for the next 5 to 6 hours, you don't expect to be hungry. You tend to be hungry when you walk about or burn your calories, and the body then sends signal to our hypothalamus and the brain that we are ready for our next meal. So I think you need to be active over a period of time to be really hungry. As far as how to gain weight, maybe have a more balanced diet. Have your proportions of protein, have your proportions of good fats, have your proportions of carbohydrates properly. I think this is the universal answer. I think I cannot advocate overeating, obviously, but I can advocate use of a balanced, simple, nutritious diet for you too. If you do follow the steps of a balanced diet, there is no reason why we can't gain weight in a healthy body.
So I have a question. You said to be active. So let me tell you that I am very much active, and I have done my NCCs also, and I am ex-cricket player also. So being active is not the solution for me, I guess.
Maybe I would suggest you to try tastier food instead. Maybe see. I think there are a host of reasons. Sometimes it can your reduced appetite can just be because we are dealing with stress. I think this is something we tend to forget in today's world. I think mental stress, physical stress does tend to play a huge factor as far as appetite is concerned. So I think just look into all the aspects where we can reduce our stress, and then maybe try again. So I think there's no one answer that I can give. There are a host of answers.
Hello, sir.
Yes.
Thank you for the answer.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
Yes, sir. I have a question like what we can eat so that we can have a great volume on our head. Like means we want a good hair. So can you just give some suggestions? Because nowadays hair fall is a very common problem among all. So to maintain a nice look, we need to have our
questions. I think when I was an MBBS student in our dermatology classes, a sir got asked this question, and his answer was 90% is genetic, 90 to 80%. I think actually male pattern baldness is a very huge factor. If you have a strong genetic history, it is very difficult to reverse this. But then there are 3 to 4 causes that can cause this. Number one, thyroid problems, both hypothyroidism and hyperthyroidism. Number 2, iron deficiency in our body is very important. And number 3, stress. So I think we need to look into these 3 factors and then eat a very healthy, balanced diet. If we don't, minoxidil drops that are available. But to be very honest, if all the 3 causes that I've just mentioned are not there and you have a strong genetic history, it is difficult to reverse, hair loss. There might be there might be advertisements here and there, but there are no scientific basis of them. So I would not like to comment on all those. I can comment medically that these three are the reversible causes. Reduce your stress, see your thyroid hormone levels, see your iron deficiency, whether you're iron deficient or not. Look at your genetic factors, and all these are the things that we see when we see patients with hair loss.
Sir, there are a few questions in the chat boxes. I would like to put two of them, I guess, at the same time. So one is by Pragya De, and she asked like if dietary supplements are helpful or harmful. And the other question is by Madhurima Banerjee, and she is asking whether jaggery powder is a good replacement for sugar, or are both of them harmful or not.
Can you repeat the first question?
Yes, of course. Pragya De is asking if dietary supplements, I think she means by those protein supplements that are available, in the chemical format. Pragya De, if you could just, unmute yourself and ask the question, because dietary supplements, what do you mean by them is, I think that is the problem.
Good morning, sir. Dietary supplement, I mean by dietary supplements are like proteins, protein powders, then weight gain powders that are available in markets. Are they harmful or useful?
Coming to the second question first, which is a very, very, very appropriate question regarding the use of jaggery and I think sugar was the question.
So yes, sugar replacement.
So if we go into the micronutrient details, jaggery contains around 70% sucrose, whereas sugar contains 99.7% sugar. The first thing. Number two, if we talk of better alternative, jaggery is a more chemically complex structure than sugar. Usually jaggery is refined, while sugar will add a minimal amount of extra nutrients into a protein as compared to sugar will add a minimally extra amount of nutrient as compared to sugar. However, if I have to give you a pinpoint answer in one sentence, jaggery does contain some extra amount of vitamin and mineral, making it comparatively healthier in very, I'm not saying it is healthier than sugar, but it is comparatively healthier than sugar. However, it is still sugar. So there is not much of a difference. You can consume jaggery in place of sugar, but you still have to watch out for the quantity. So this is something that I would like to say, that sorry, I just got muted. You can consume jaggery in comparison to sugar, but then as with sugar, you need to continue watching your consumption. Next question, I think, is the use of
the supplements.
The supplements. It is I personally don't advocate the use of supplements when it comes to younger generation. I will not, because we as a younger generation are capable of having a balanced nutritional diet. When it comes to elderly population who are diabetic, hypertensive, and have a reduced consumption of diet, I might advocate the use of supplements. But as far as younger generation are concerned, I don't think so they are advocated.
Okay, sir. So
I think another thing that I would like to answer, during the time of COVID, we were asked to consume, vitamins, minerals during the time we had COVID for those 14 days. Something that is not scientific. I think there is nothing that a supplement can do in 14 days. I think it needs to be long term. I think you can't build your immunity in 14 days. That is not possible. That is not how our body works. The moment we get diagnosed with COVID, we tend to start increasing the zinc. We started taking in multiple, as we say, multiple supplements. That is not how our body works. It has to be long term for you to build your immunity.
So can I take another question?
Yes, sure.
Okay, sir. So this is from Shrishti Jaiswal. She is dealing with PCOD and she wanted to ask that how can she improve her health by a diet that would also help her to cure PCOD?
One of the foremost things that we can do in PCOD is to increase our exercise. I know it is very difficult to lose weight in PCOD in some patients. You cannot lose your weight just by sitting. Increase your physical activity, both muscle building and by means of calorie restriction and moving about, and a lifestyle modification that I talked about, increasing the consumption of fibers, complex carbohydrates, all of this. And I think it does tend to yield result. I think when you start losing weight of PCOD, it does wonders to our overall disease process.
Sorry to interrupt you, sir, but I'm just 42 kg. I don't want to lose weight. Instead, I want to gain weight. I'm dealing with PCOD from since 1 month, maybe 1 or 2 months, and I am having a lot of hair fall. And even if I try to eat so many things, I just can't gain weight. This is the major problem I am facing.
Can you just tell me at what age did you get diagnosed with PCOD?
Sir, 18.
And what symptoms did you have then? I think that is more important.
Sir, I was having irregular periods, and firstly, when I just having 7 days of periods, and now I'm just having 3 days of periods or maybe 4 days. So the period is not clear, and I am getting a lot of pimples in my face, and having a lot of weight loss, losing appetite.
Yes. So as far as hair loss is concerned, PCOD typically can contribute to hair loss, as PCOD is associated with higher than normal levels of testosterone. That is the basic aspect. And this is called androgenic alopecia. And the reason, and here the typical PCOD patients, they tend to complain of hair loss around the temples and the frontal region of the scalp. As far as the other disease process is concerned that you're talking of, I think just try and maintain a healthy, nutritious diet. As far as hair loss is concerned, I think you need to consult with your gynecologist and your dermatologist, because this is a sort of a normal process, because you having PCOD will have higher testosterone level than a normal or than a female who does not have a PCOD. So this is basically a hormonal cause of hair loss. And as far as PCOD is concerned, there are multiple drugs. We have clomiphene citrate, we have metformin. So what drugs are you on now? Can I just ask you?
Sir, I just don't know the name properly. Maybe it's the one I am taking from 1 month, and the another I don't know. I just need to look it.
Okay, I think you need to consult with a gynecologist regarding the hair loss. And as far as weight gain is concerned, I think I've already answered the question about a balanced, healthy lifestyle. You need to intake good amount of fibers and good amount of fats. By fat, I mean healthy fats. So I think if you can clarify about the diet that you are on currently.
Sir, can you please suggest some fruits or maybe some nutrients that can I take every day?
Good fats include walnuts, proteins, almonds. You can have watermelon seeds, chia seeds. They're very much available now. I think All these are really good. We can have eggs. I think eggs are one of the, I think I call it a superfood. I think eggs have been, for years have been told that they're not good, they contain fat, and eggs are the purest forms of protein and good fats. So I think these are the sort of diet you can include in your diet to maybe help you in gaining weight.
Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you so much for answering the question, sir. I guess then to ask, I mean, I'll direct my words to the participants. I think what sir means to emphasize again and again is that if we have a balanced diet, our weight issues, whether it is about losing weight or gaining weight, along with a healthy exercise routine, would help us. I guess that is right, sir?
Perfect.
Yes. Okay. Sir, I have another question from Pooja Shaw. She asked, like, is it possible to cure sinus by a balanced diet?
I think by a balanced diet, you can prevent the risk of you getting repeated infections. That is a no-brainer. That is scientifically proven. If someone is nutritionally fine, I think it reduces the risk of development of infections. As far as acute sinus, I think scientifically from our point of view, there is no such rule. But then there are Ayurvedic concepts that say that it does help. So I think I'm not in the, yes, if you have a balanced diet over a period of time, the risk of you developing repeated infections does tend to decrease.
Sorry, my laptop was not working. Okay, so Manisha Singh has another question to follow it. She asks, like, if normal iodized salt. No, she asked if what is a supplement for sugar as well as normal iodized salt.
Supplement for sugar.
Sugar as well as normal iodized salt.
Supplement for sugar. Jaggery might be a little healthier version, but then it does have almost the same effects of sugar. As I've said, if you want to take or have sugar cravings, have your natural source of sugars, your natural seasonal fruits. That is the best method to control your sugar cravings. And the other question?
A replacement for iodized salt as well. Normal salt, the normal salt, if you get like a Tata salt, she's asking this is a supplement or a replacement for iodized salt. I mean, if it is healthy or not. I guess that is her question is.
I think if she can clarify her question a little more. I think
okay. Manisha Singh, can you hear me? Can you hear sir?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, Manisha,
Yes,
can
ma'am.
you just please clarify your question to sir?
As I've heard that the normal salt that we use, the Tata one, is not healthy as compared to the Himalayan or the rock salt. So, what is the supplement for that? That means what is the healthier version of salt?
I think earlier on, there were a subset of populations who had severe iodine deficiency. And that is where the concept of iodized salt came about. However, just a half teaspoon or 3 grams of iodized salt per day is enough to meet your daily iodine requirements. Okay, so just a second. Hello. So this is one thing that we need to know regarding whether iodized salt is safe to consume. The upper limit of iodine is 1,100 micrograms, which is equivalent to 6 tablespoons of iodized salt. So this is the balance. This is what I wanted to say. However, as far as World Health Organization is concerned, they've typically said that less than 5 grams of salt per day for adults is the ideal requirement for a normal adult population. What a high intake of iodized salt might do, it increases the risk of thyroid dysfunction, and also there are studies that have said that increased IRX or can also increase the risk of hypertension in these subsets of patients.
Thank you for the answer, sir.
So I had a question, if I may. I have asked several questions to you in the beginning of the session already. I have another question because I was wondering. So, sir, I have the habit of taking a cup of black coffee in the day to begin with. After I drink some water and after that, and I do not have any sugar in my coffee as well. Is that a healthy way to have the start of the day, or should I take my black coffee afterwards? Again, sugarless. I do not take sugar in my tea or my coffee at all.
I think Ball. Yes. So, as far as black coffee is concerned, I think it is a healthy alternative, really healthy. However, there needs to be moderation. Coffee can increase the risk, or I say the bad effects first. You might have palpitations if you take it in very high, huge quantities, which according to you is not. If you take it once a day, it's it increases the risk of sympathetic stimulation. You have sweating, all these post coffee intake, very high quantities of coffee. But if you talk of just one serving of black coffee per day, there are studies that black coffee can reduce your risk of cancer, liver cirrhosis, and type 2 diabetes as well. There are studies. However, most healthy people should limit their total caffeine intake to 400 milligram per day, which equates to maximum of 2 to 3 cups of coffee. But that is stretching it a bit too far. I'm fine with 1 to 1.5. If you don't mind, can we just speed it up a little, because
yes, sir. Yes, sir. Like we just were, going ahead. Sir, I have one last question from Srishti Jaiswal. If you can just answer that would be, I guess, enough. Okay, so she asked, like, why eating dairy and all-purpose flour triggers acne? That is her question. Like, if dairy and all-purpose flour, I guess she's asking if it's good for health or not. That is, I guess, her question should be.
No, I think it's something related to acne, I guess I heard.
Yes. Why does it trigger acne?
Dairy related acnes are common. I think cow's milk may lead to acne in certain patients.
Okay.
As far as studies are concerned, there is a link, but the reason is really unknown. I think there is no scientific reason why it causes acne. I think it is a good observation. We have seen it, but the reason why is not known. For that matter, even there are certain patients who consume yogurt or cheese do tend to complain of these symptoms. So I think it is a good observation. The reason, I'm sorry, I think there's no scientific reason why.
It should be like, if it doesn't suit you, then maybe consume less of it and shift to something else. That would be.
Yes, I think you can switch over to, say, a tofu or a soy milk. I think they do tend to do wonders then.
Okay. So one last question I would ask. She's from Professor Devghosh. She asked the amount and type of cooking oil, the usage, the amount and type of cooking oil for CVT patients.
For cardiovascular disease patients?
Yes.
Very important question. There is a thing that we always say is the type of oil is probably the most important. I wanted to talk about this, but if I have to talk of the healthiest option, it has to be olive oil. There are other heart-healthy oils that we keep talking of. The sunflower oil, olive oil, and there are also the canola oil or the oil that are again very, very important or very, much. Most of the people, and there are in patients with cardiovascular diseases. However, you need to limit the intake of mustard oil. And the most important thing that I keep mentioning is, we say this in Bengali to the patients, pora tele ranna korben. Do not use, the same oil. Good, heart, healthy surroundings for your patients.
Thank you so much, sir. And thank you, participants, for your questions. For now, we will not be taking any further questions, and we are closing the floor for that. Dr. Pathak, I'm really sorry for asking, but I think your video is turned off. We'll be doing a closing session. Yes.
Yes.
You must be getting ready for your day ahead.
Yes.
Dr. Vinay sir would be, giving the vote of thanks. So I would like to thank you personally, ma'am.
Yes, I'm here, but
ma'am,
sir
are you
is
there?
yes, almost ready in his busy schedule. He's managing it somehow to be here in this online platform. So we are very much thankful to him. So I think we must close this session right now.
Yes, yes, yes.
Okay, thank
Vinay
you,
sir,
sir.
if,
Okay, thank you.
yeah, thank
Good afternoon, everyone. It has been such an honor to be a part of this wonderful event. On behalf of Kashipur THK Jain College Old Student Association, I, Professor Vinay Kumar Saw, express my sincere thanks to Dr. Ankan Pathak. I convey my heartfelt thanks to Sri Sardarmal Kankaria, President of Sri SS Jain Sabha, Sri Sohan Raj Singhvi, President of THK Jain College, Sri Lalit Kankaria, Secretary of THK Jain College, for their financial and moral support. I offer my sincere regard to our Principal Madam, Dr. Mausumi Singh Sengupta, to coordinate the entire event with the member of the association to make the event a success. I would like to express my sincere gratitude to the Professor Rakanjana Sen to coordinate and cooperate the entire work. Last but not the least, I would like to express my sincere thanks to all the participants of this event, supporting staff. Without their coordination and cooperation, this event would not have been a success. Thank you. Thank you, sir. Thank you, madam.
Thank you, Bina. So
thank you, ma'am, for your support and for your guidance all the time.
Thank you very much to all of you for your active participation, and of course the students. I think they are satisfied with the answers they have got from our expert doctor. Okay, so
Yes.
we want that this type of session in future also. Okay.